So, this scene alone has officially made Hot Granny Anime Waifu of the Year when she points out to the boxer alien, "Your blood stinks," and Ken follows up with saying, "Oh my god, that's rude," or "That's anti-alien. How can you not be politically correct?" So let's just watch that real quick. And she just follows up with saying, "Shut up, you little turd. Screw political correctness." I'm actually very surprised they included that in this scene, and I'm somewhat confused because I watched the dub version, and for the subtitles, they have the same subtitles as the Japanese version, but the dialogue is different. Basically, he says the same thing, "What are you, anti-alien?" And Hot Granny says, "I'm not anti-anyone." So I'm actually I'm intrigued to find out which is the correct translation. But regardless, the fact that it's even included in this scene, because we all have become aware of the corruption when it comes to localizations, the mistranslations due to just, bad faith attempts by bad faith actors. I'm actually very surprised they included this because usually the localizers are very for political correctness when they try to, shove their own worldviews and show social agendas in the dialogue, or just to change the framing of the story or the framing of the characters. And usually I'm against the including of modern day language or lingo, when it comes to stuff like saying, "Oh, that's mid," or "no cap." To me, it can come off very, very cringe. And I would rather that not be included at all, because it also dates an anime. I can go back to anime from the 90s and 80s and still enjoy it to this day without feeling any type of cringe, because the dialogue is mainly universal. And it's not, I would say the localizers back then didn't have this kind of narcissistic approach to try to impose themselves in the dialogue or do these self-inserts and look how I can change the dialogue to fit with the times or whatever. So I'm actually very surprised they included this. Now, even if this wasn't included in the dialogue, this show, just by existing alone, screws political correctness. Just by having a Hot Granny here who should be Waifu of the Year, very attractive woman. Just the presence of an attractive woman goes against political correctness. You see this in a lot of Western entertainment as far as movies, video games, even cartoons, where, God forbid, there be an attractive woman, and the second there's these huge attempts to have it changed, and because it's just seen too offensive, I guess, to have an attractive woman. And not just that alone, but also the two other characters, Momo and Ira, who are also attractive characters who actually are heterosexual and actually have a likeness or are attracted to the main character, Ken. With Ira going out of her way to make that present and known when she, tries to, of course, kiss him. And I mean, that scene alone from, I guess it was 2 episodes ago, where she tried to kind of force herself onto Ken, that would definitely go against the, he didn't give consent or whatever. But it led to a very, very funny scene. And with Momo having sort of a discreet attraction towards Ken, but it's definitely known that she becomes jealous when she sees Ira attempting to, flirt with Ken. So this show, just by existing, goes against political correctness, but I'm very surprised that it was in the actual subtitles. So, like I said, I'm very interested in learning, is that the true translation? But even regardless, to have that included is very telling. And I would say it's maybe the tides are turning, because, of course, anime and manga is a medium that is separated from the West as far as when it's done at the inception level or the creative process due to the language barrier. But we definitely see a lot of attacks on anime and manga these days, or just Japanese content overall, even with the United Nations even putting pressure on anime to, change, and all the censorship with the Visa and MasterCard payment processors threatening to take their payment processing away if they don't change their, or censor their content. We see Vinland Saga. I remember the article came out almost maybe close to a year ago, the Vinland Saga editor, there was an article where he spoke out saying he's against political correctness, basically giving a warning to the anime industry, stop, falling pressure to the Western political correct standards. And these are, his words saying, he actually said political correctness. So, it's not like, something he's alluding to. He's stating it directly. He refuses to make politically correct content. He wants to stay true to the story. As far as all the creators working on Vinland Saga, and that's one of my anime, season 2, that's one of my top 5 favorite animes. And the president of the Naruto studio also said the same thing, where he's against political correctness. And that's why Naruto was such a huge success as far as like not censoring the violence, the blood, the sexual humor, everything that made that show what it was. He talked about not falling pressure to the politically correct standards of the Western elitists, something that the fans don't even want, not the, I guess people would deem as anime tourists. You see this a lot. Like I said, I'm very surprised that this show actually has in this dialogue, because that's something you would say, right? Just to have Hot Granny just say, and it really does fit her demeanor, well, because she is like kind of a careless, carefree, like she does what she wants. She doesn't, care about your feelings, but she does want the best for you. You can definitely tell that in the few episodes we've seen her in. It's refreshing. It's refreshing. And even though I hate like modern day cringe references, if it were to be a reference, this is like a refreshing way to do it, because it's just so surprising. I'm surprised they allowed this. Like I said, the dub version, the dialogue is different, but the subtitles remain the same. So I'm definitely curious to know if that's actually a true translation. But even if it's not, regardless, just to have it in the subtitles, that's very, very telling, because they could have just changed the subtitles as well as they do with other shows. This scene alone has definitely, I would say, made Hot Granny anime waifu of the year. And if it were to be an anime to really have this part of the subtitles or the dialogue to say screw political correctness, it's cool that Dan is doing, because I would say it's probably the most popular anime of the year, and it's for everybody to see. Like, it's not like a hidden or not as popular, unpopular, low-key anime that's doing it. It's Dan, because I would say over the past few years, anime has definitely attracted a lot of normies or casual fans and a lot of people who are actually for political correctness. We see that with the latest My Hero Academia, people getting mad at the author for not, abiding to, I would say, the politically correct types to make Bakugo and Deku be together rather than Deku and Ochako be together. So it's definitely attracted a lot of politically correct types. So this is almost like a slap in the face to those who would prefer anime to be politically correct, who are bandwagon fans. This is almost like a, hey, we're not here to be politically correct, because, Japan has been under attack. And recently, I would say in the past 6 months or, 3 to 6 months, a lot of Japanese artists, because Japan is a very non-confrontational culture. I was just there in August, and it's definitely a non-confrontational, avoid conflict. But in the past, I would say 6 months on Twitter and X, a lot of Japanese artists have been fighting back, standing up for themselves. When people say, hey, fix your art, your character shouldn't look like this, your character should look like that, a lot of Japanese artists are fighting back because they're frustrated and sick of the politically correct types trying to impose themselves. So this is a slap in the face to those who constantly want to force and impose political correctness in Japanese content. So I'm glad to see it. But that's all I have for this video. I just wanted to get my thoughts on that. Tell me what you think in the comments below. If you haven't already, check out my music on Spotify, link in the description below. If you like the Samurai Champloo, lo-fi mellow boom bap vibes, then my music is definitely for you. Again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Free think. Peace.